Saanich North and the Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The world's leading climate scientists have warned we only have a dozen years to keep global warming to a maximum of 1.5 degrees Celsius, beyond which even half a degree will significantly worsen the risks of drought, floods, extreme heat, and poverty for hundreds of millions of people. Healthcare is already over 40% of the provincial budget. As I've seen firsthand in Saanich North and the Islands and across the province, we have an aging population, and currently we're struggling to deliver basic primary care to many of our citizens, Honourable Speaker. We face the threat of increasing sea level rise, water shortages, and wildfires, all of which will add to the financial burden of healthcare delivery. If we act with urgency, we can couple strong climate policies with an approach that will also improve the health and well-being of people that we serve. If we don't, the implications on healthcare services could be overwhelming. Honourable Speaker, the time to act is now, and it requires an all-of-government approach. Through you to the Minister of Health. The health risks associated with climate change are formidable. What are the greatest climate change-related risks and opportunities facing your ministry, and how are you prepared to deal with both?
Minister of Health.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I thank the member for his question. It's a significant one, I think, for all members of this House, all people in British Columbia, and indeed the world. As the member will know, the World Health Organization has identified climate change as the single biggest risk to health in the 21st century. It's a significant issue for all of us, and I think it's one of the reasons why I note the member's question, that we cannot act in silos on this question. The work of my colleague, the Minister of the Environment, in dealing with climate action is a public health initiative, as well as an environmental and economic one. But in addition to that, health authorities and the Ministry of Health are working hard on educational materials and prepared educational materials to help healthcare providers and citizens deal with the risk of climate change. We're working with other ministries and the Ministry of the Environment on risk assessments, because there are risk assessments and issues in the future, potential risks such as the spread of Lyme disease and the impact of heat waves on citizens, in particular seniors, Honourable Speaker. And finally, we have to make our system more resilient. It's why health authorities are taking the lead in terms of reducing emissions, and have, to be fair, for some time, Honourable Speaker. And also, we are building new healthcare facilities, particularly in the interior, in Fort St. James, in Terrace, working at Dawson Creek, in Williams Lake, improving services in Quesnel, in Penticton, in Kamloops, and so on. The resiliency of our healthcare institutions is so important at a time when climate risks are greater, and all of us and all members of the House, I think, will support these initiatives which help us prepare for the challenges of climate change in the future.
Saanich North and the Islands on a supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There's no question fossil fuels have contributed significantly to human advancement. They effectively allowed us to transition our industrial practices, spur economic growth, and lift people out of poverty. We recognize the significant value that those technologies and innovations have had, but acknowledge that times are changing. We have a transforming economy. There's different options for energy production and storage, and there are different risks that we face now. Knowing the challenge we face and how we got here is incredibly important to finding the solutions. But climate change is not explicitly mentioned in the core concept for any mandatory course between grade 8 and 10 curriculum in our province. We need to do better in preparing the next generation. They face the most severe effects of climate change. Developing the leaders who will guide us through the impacts of climate change will require an all-of-government approach. Through you to the Minister of Education, what are the greatest climate change risks and opportunities facing your ministry, and how are you prepared to deal with both?
Minister of Education.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and to the member for the question. Like the members of the third party, we know that the greatest challenge of our time is climate change. We're committed to tackling that as a government. The school system now gives kids tools to explore climate challenges that our world is facing, and we're taking action to do their part. Climate change wasn't part of the curriculum until recently. That has now changed. In the new curriculum, learning in all areas is rooted in the core competencies, a number of which place a key emphasis on social and environmental responsibility. So where climate change is a distinct part of BC's new curriculum, I'll give the member just a couple of examples. In grade 9, all students learn a systems approach to sustainability that touches upon climate change and the role of carbon pollution as a key factor in climate change. It teaches kids what the greenhouse effect is, among other goals in that year. Earth Science 11, students examine climate change on water sources, but really climate change and sustainability are embedded throughout the education system from the earliest ages. And it's not just the science curriculum, I want the member to know that. Social studies students look at the role that climate change can cause in destabilizing countries, creating the migrant crisis, all of those sorts of things. But I do want the member to know as well, as a government statement of responsibility, we're also using our significant capital program to build new buildings to the highest environmental standards. We are funding
Thank you, Minister.
geothermal and renewable energy projects in schools right across British Columbia. We take this challenge seriously, and we're leading with our actions. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.